everybody, this is Zoe from No Safer Place. Just want to say I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and a happy new year. I have been gone for a while. There has been a lot going on recently and I'll probably do a video explaining all of that soon, but today I am here with a review that I have been wanting to do for months. I read this book months and months ago. It featured in a few of my videos, but I never really gave it an in-depth review, and I was waiting until near a publication date, and we are so close to it now. So here is the review of one of my favourite books of all time. It is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer. This book is absolutely incredible. I've read all of Brigid's previous books and I absolutely adored them. I was really excited for this when I first heard that it was being published because I heard that it was a Beauty and the Beast dark retelling, and you guys know how I love my dark fairy tales. So the story focuses on two main characters and it is a dual narrative. So we have Prince Wren, who is the heir of Emberfall. I'll explain more about that later. And we have Harper, who lives in Washington DC. The book is set from both of their perspectives and they usually have alternating chapters. So Prince Wren has been stuck in this Beauty and the Beast type curse for over 300 seasons. He has been stuck as an 18-year-old for quite a few years. So as I said earlier, he is the heir of Emberfall and he resides in Iron Rose Castle. Now, it is just as majestic as it sounds. It is all pretty medieval and oldie worldy, which is obviously the complete opposite of what Washington DC is like. Now, what I love about the two worlds is that they're just so beautifully written. Especially Emberfall. We obviously don't know much about Emberfall at the beginning, and by the end of it you can picture this world so vividly in your mind, and just props to Brigid for that world building because it is incredible. So because of this curse, everyone in Prince Wren's life is pretty much dead, apart from the commander of his royal guard, and his name is Gray. I will get on to Gray later because he is possibly one of my favourite characters. So to break the curse, it is very Beauty and the Beast-esque. One must find a female and fall in love with her, and everyone lives happily ever after. He has tried this many times and it just isn't working. So every season Gray leaves Emberfall and goes into the real world and takes a girl every season to bring back to Wren in the hope that he will find love and that the curse on Emberfall will be broken. But each season the animal beast creature reappears and it ends the same: death. So you all kind of get the idea of what happens. Harper gets taken as one of these girls to fall in love with Wren, and Harper is completely different to all of the girls that he usually takes. Harper is fierce, she is loyal, she is very stubborn. She does have a lot of unlikable traits actually, but even though she has so many unlikable traits, she really is likable. I absolutely love her. Harper has cerebral palsy, and as someone with a disability myself, I really loved this part of the book because her disability wasn't focused on at all. Usually in a book, when you have a main character with a disability, it is kind of the whole storyline and the whole plot is something to do with that disability. And although it's good in raising awareness, I kind of like a character to have a disability that doesn't define her, and that is definitely the case with Harper, and I absolutely loved it. So it's mentioned quite a few times throughout the book, and yeah, that was definitely a part of the book that I really liked, and I would love to see more books doing that kind of thing without putting too much emphasis on it. So Harper gets taken to Emberfall. I'm not going to tell you why because it's a little bit spoilery, and when she gets taken she leaves behind her very ill mother who doesn't have very long to live, and her brother Jake. Now they've got themselves in a bit of a pickle. They owe a lot of money and obviously they don't have a lot because they're both still young. So they do get themselves in some rather dangerous situations. So when Harper leaves, the mum and brother back home, their lives kind of just go into turmoil and everything goes bad for them. But you'll find more about that if you read the book. Let's talk a little bit about Wren. Wren is probably my favourite YA character ever. He is up there with Warden from the Bone season for sure. I am absolutely obsessed with him. Let me read out a little description of him. I didn't get a good look at him before, but I do now. His profile is striking, with high cheekbones and an angular jaw, rich brown eyes. No freckles, but enough time in the sun to stop anyone from describing him as pale. He wears a white t-shirt under a high-collared blue jacket, accented with leather trim and detailed gold stitching. Gold buckles across his chest, and a dagger is belted to his hip. I mean, come on guys, how perfect does he sound? And his personality is just everything. He is chivalrous and kind and vulnerable and soft under his hard exterior. I love him. And then we have Lilith. Lilith is the evil enchantress that started this curse in the first place. She is one of those characters that you love to hate. She is awful. She is evil. She does some truly awful things to Wren, and she only really comes to visit him to watch him fail and cause him pain. And yeah, you will learn to hate her very, very quickly. Now, I love the relationship between Wren and Gray. Obviously, they are all each other has really got left in the world, and you can really tell that they need each other. They're loyal and fierce to each other, but on the outside, what they show the audience, their relationship is sarcastic, it's witty, it's really quite funny. And I think their relationship is the kind of light-hearted side of the book, which I really enjoy because there's a lot of darkness in this. What I also love about this book is usually when you have a really strong main male character, he is the Prince Charming who swoops in to save the day, and the female is the damsel in distress that always needs saving. And in this book, it's kind of the opposite. If anyone is the damsel in distress, I would say it's Wren. He is the one that needs saving from the curse, and Harper is a complete badass. Now, obviously, it's a royal family, so there are a lot of politics woven into this book, but it's so smoothly done that you don't even realise that it's happening, because I usually like switch off when politics are in a book and I'm just like, ugh, a little bit boring. But this is not the case at all. You want to know more about what's happening with the royal family, what's happening in other lands. It's all kept very, very exciting. And because there's so much more of a story than the original story of Beauty and the Beast, it makes it more than just a retelling, in my opinion, because it has so much more depth and so many more layers. The secondary characters usually in books are a bit of a letdown because they don't really get explored enough. There's not really much depth, but that is not the case with this book. Even the minor characters which come out later on in the book, you really have a connection to them. And I think the time that Bridget has spent in exploring these characters really, really shows. Now, with any royal family, there are going to be secrets, and there are a lot of secrets in this book. Obviously, no spoilers, but some of them are just absolutely shocking. That ending, I could never have predicted that ending. It's the furthest thing away from what I was expecting, and my mind is just blown. If you've read the book and you want to talk to me about it in the comments, please do. Now, I think if I had one word to describe this, it would be delicious. Now, that might seem like a strange word to describe this book, but honestly, once you start, all you want to do is devour this book because it is just so gorgeous. Everything about it is just so beautifully done, and just, I could rave about this book for hours. Don't worry, I won't. So this book is the first in the trilogy, I believe, and my good God, the first one isn't even officially out yet, and I am ready for book number 2. I don't think I have been this ready for a book for a very long time. I'm usually skeptical about sequels because they're usually the weakest book in a series, but the way that this book was left, I need to know what happens next. Need to. As I said earlier, it is the best book I read last year, and I think it's going to be the best book I've read this year because I've reread it again already a few days into the year. It just takes Beauty and the Beast to an entirely new realm, quite literally. Everything about this book is exactly what I would want it to be. It's got great character depth, short chapters, fast-paced, worlds interwoven beautifully, a sprinkling of magic but doesn't overwhelm the plot, so it's not just a magical book. In my opinion, there is so much more to it than that. So if you go and pick up a book this month, make sure it's this one, A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It is absolutely fantastic. I would highly recommend it. And if you have read it, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because I would love to talk about it with someone. Anyone. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see more of on my channel, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye.